It's the worst of the CBC for December 6, 2019, the show where I watch the CBC so you don't have to. And it's good to be back. We have another episode finally. Sorry, last week was full of work and I was sick through half of it, and we have the event coming up on Sunday. So, let's get to it. Today's CBC was, it's your standard stuff. It's after the throne speech, but sort of the worst covered, biggest omission story that I'm going to focus on is... In what surprised to no one, I think this is the last episode we did cover this, is we're coming off the 30-year anniversary of the Polytechnic University attack. And people want to name this a anti-feminist terrorist attack. It's fine. I'm okay with that. For those of you who don't know what happened, 30 years ago, a man went into a community college. Quebec has a weird post-high school pseudo-college thing, Polytechnic. He separated men and women, and then he started shooting the women, killing 14 of them. And injuring others, right? This is clearly misogyny. He describes himself as an anti-feminist actor, so you can call this anti-feminist terrorism because that's what he said. He was doing it. And they brought on person after person, and they kept making the case that we have to name the ideology behind these attacks or else we can never move forward. It would be ridiculous. It would be evil. Basically, everything I said. So, and I'm just watching this, and I'm going... The next time we have to talk about another type of terrorism, all this is going out the window. But then, as if God himself wanted to grant me my wish to make this episode just come full circle so we could do it all right now and type this episode. There is a 22-year-old man, him and his wife, traveled to the Syria-Turkey border to join ISIS, and he's facing terrorism charges. What type of terrorism, you ask? Well, the CBC has no idea. In fact, we cannot name it. And I'd say they cannot name it because there actually is an editorial policy at the CBC to not refer to something like 9/11 as Islamic extremism. There's an editorial ban on that. So to spend the entire day having politicians come on, having professors and experts come and say, oh, we must name the problem. We must call this anti-feminism, and refusing to name it only makes it worse. And then to have an incident of radical Islam and have no one be able to say the words radical Islam, this is deranging, okay? And this is why this is one of the reasons why you get such extreme actors on both sides, but particularly we'll say, far-right anti-Islamist activists. Part of reciprocal extremism is people don't see issues that need to be dealt with being dealt with. For example, the Quebec mosque shooting, terrible, a terrorist attack, white supremacy. But that mosque had been involved in a lot of sort of quasi-terrorism funding. It was linked to extremism. It had been linked to the Muslim Brotherhood. So no, this doesn't justify killing anyone there. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is you have a serious problem here. And these serious problems need to be dealt with in a mature and adult way. We need to be able to talk about these problems, work them out. But when people see that there's a literal editorial publication ban on dealing with radical Islam, well then who are the people that will take things into their own hands? Crazy people. And what do crazy people do? Crazy things. Okay, so this is deranging in the extreme. All right, so that's my thoughts on that. They literally said we must name, they spent 25 minutes talking about how we must name the problem of anti-feminist terrorism when it happens. Even though it was just one incident 30 years ago and it hasn't happened since. Fine, I get it, I agree with you. And then when it happens for radical Islam, they literally cannot say because of editorial standards. So that's the worst covered story. Then the biggest omission, Aladdin, is... Of course, they used the Polytechnic to justify Justin Trudeau's new policy on gun control. What is this new policy? Well, he's going to ban guns that are already banned in Canada, and we're going to ignore gang violence and root causes of gun issues, and we're going to give cities the ability to outright ban handguns. Are we going to talk about the stats of crimes committed with legal guns versus illegal guns? Again, and then they're going to do the whole narrative. Conservatives don't care about gun violence. But the Liberals are pushing policies that have been shown countless times to have zero effect on gun policy. or zero effect on gun violence. And the conservatives are actually pushing policy. They're trying to say this is how you curb gun violence, by going after gangs. So I'm going to add that in the biggest omission. And all in all, what does today get? We'll give it an 8 out of 10 on the Rosemary Barden scale. So it's an 8 out of 10. So if you like the show, you can support us on Patreon or PayPal. Also, if you're in Toronto this Sunday at 788 Marley, that's Lawrence and the Allen Road near Lawrence West Station, we are having the event Israel and Hindu Kashmir on the front lines against extremism. So if you want us to actually name the problems of extremism, and yes, we will talk about radical Islam a bit as one of the extremist factors there, you're going to want to go to the event. It's only $5. So it's 7 p.m. Sunday night at the Toronto Zionist Center near Lawrence West Station. Free parking near a subway. There's really no reason not to attend unless you live up in Alaska, in which case you get a pass. And anyone in Azerbaijan. Everyone else in the world has to come. Goodbye.